Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are friends, are weird, your source for all things strange and wild happening in the world today. I'm your co host, Joey.
And I'm your co-host, Stone.
Stone, I'm so very excited for our episode today. This week, we're going to explore the wacky world of birds. We're going to talk a little bit about our friend Elon Musk yet again, because that man cannot stay out of the news. And then lastly, we're going to talk about some MAGA conspiracy theories and how Taylor Swift is ruining the NFL. What do you have for me this week?
Well, this week I've got some wacky news about hate crimes against a religious group, Ben Shapiro's hit new song, and the complete transformation of the English language.
Well, golly, let's get at it.
Now, first off, before we get into this episode's news, I need to issue a correction and an apology for a last episode. I referred to Kanye West as a gay fish, a Nazi, and a supervillain, and these allegations are just hurtful and wrong. While Mr. West is most definitely a gay fish and a Nazi, he's actually a grown-ass superhero, and I've got a clip that I'd like to share with you that proves the point. Here we go.
Kanye, how you doing? It's good to see you. People want to know if Bianca has her free will. Some people are saying you're controlling her.
Would you think that you a white woman, you could walk up on me like that and ask me some dumbass shit like that? Asking me, are my white talking about she got free will? Are you crazy? You ain't saying this is America. You got free will or you work?
I'm sorry, honey. I just need my phone.
No. Answer the question. Yeah, I'm a legend. You understand that? I got your phone now. They gonna arrest me for taking your phone?
Superhero shit.
I don't. You asked me, did my wife have free will? Was that a dumbass, disrespectful question to come ask a grown-ass superhero? No, you're not just a reporter. What's your first and last name? Melanie what?
And see, there you have it. Kanye West is not a supervillain. He is a grown-ass superhero.
I just love how the man walking around with his face completely covered by a mask with no eye holes is asking somebody else if they're crazy.
I mean, to be fair, she was harassing the shit out of him. But yeah, he's fully wearing a full-on supervillain costume and stealing a phone. Is that a question you ask a grown-ass superhero, Joey?
I guess not.
I mean, for once in his career, at least since he went full-on lithium-free and just super crazy like he is in recent years, for the first time, I was almost on his side until he asked her, "Is that a question you ask a grown-ass superhero?"
Well, there you have it, folks. Friends are Weird's first official redaction and apology to grown-ass superhero Kanye West. So, and I think it was really big of you to bring that forth. I love the growth. Thank you.
Yep. Well, being journalists as we are, it's important to correct the record when you get things wrong.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of getting things wrong, I'm excited to share this first story with you. Before we get into it, though, tell our listeners you have a thing with, or maybe for, birds.
Okay, so that is a misconception. Birds actually have a thing for me. Anytime I'm at work, or let's say I work outside a lot, and anytime I'm at work, there's always birds approaching me, and it's startling to turn around and see a bird. And so I take a picture of them like anyone in the 21st century would do. And you started giving me shit for it, saying, "What the fuck is up with you and birds?" And at first I denied it. I denied it and denied it and denied it. But eventually I came to terms with it. I think I might actually be a bird god. Unwittingly up until recently, like for some reason, I don't know if I just sweat bird pheromones that attract them or what, but there's always birds nearby posing for me. So of course I take pictures. I mean, you see a goose like 5 feet away just staring at you and you're not going to take a picture of it? Fuck out of here.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure, maybe a goose, but not just like a random everyday
Sometimes
bird.
it is a goose.
Really?
Well, I mean, yeah, there's been at least one occasion where there was a goose just protecting a tree that I wanted nothing to do with, and we were at an install at work. Do you remember that goose? It was just sitting in the tree and fucking staring at us.
I guess not. I don't remember that goose. Have you ever thought though that any of these birds were maybe spying on you or for a government of a different country?
At first, I did. Yeah, at first I thought that might have been the case because it's kind of weird how often birds are nearby, and they're always really close, like too close for birds. But that thought has definitely crossed my mind before.
Well, officials in India kind of had the same thought. A pigeon, minding its own business near a port in Mumbai, blissfully unaware that its life was about to take a drastic change and a deep dive into the world of espionage, was brought into custody by Mumbai officials on the grounds that it may be a spy for the Chinese government. Why, you ask? This pigeon, weirdly enough, and I can understand where they're coming from here. This pigeon did have a message scrolled across its wings, and can you guess what language it was in?
I'm guessing Chinese, Russian.
Chinese, yeah. So that is weird. And the authorities, in a frenzy, assumed the pigeon, as you would, was a secret agent. Weirdly enough,
Makes sense.
Guess who the hero of this story was?
Was it the bird?
It wasn't the bird. The bird was just an everyday bird. Fear not. For in the darkest of paltry moments, there emerged an Indian hero amongst a bunch of regular people. And this animal was liberated by none other than PETA, who's notoriously kind of the bad guy in this situation. But in a statement that had everyone in stitches, PETA declared, after learning that a pigeon was held in a Mumbai parcel as case of property for an astonishing 8 months, this poor pigeon was held captive without trial for 8 months. PETA sprang into
without
action.
even a trial?
Without even a trial. I know. PETA India sprang into action to secure the bird's freedom, and as of early last week, our pigeon friend has been freed. But I just, imagine this poor pigeon's confusion. He's getting a medical examination, wondering, what the hell is going on here? Am I getting a beak lift? Are they checking for hidden microphones? What's happening? But in the end, our feathered friend has been freed, and I'm happy to announce he was not a spy. He was just a regular old pigeon.
Damn, and not a single person in India had just a Chinese translator to read what was on the bird's leg? Or, I mean, I'm guessing that had to have happened at some point. Just because it's Chinese writing doesn't necessarily make it suspicious. Were you able to find out what was written on it?
No, so when I was researching this
not
story...
a spy or something?
It was literally just the words "not a spy," but in Mandarin.
Because that would be pretty suspicious.
No. When I was researching this, I could not find anything about what the actual written message was on this bird's feathers.
Damn. Well, that's fucking crazy. It's almost like the Indian government, fully fell for the birds aren't real conspiracy theory.
And I couldn't help but think about
take them serious as a country after that.
Yeah.
That kind of makes me think about myself as well.
Mm-hmm. I owe you an apology. I thought you were a paranoid stoner who was scared of everyday birds. But I understand. Any one of them could have been a spy for the Russians.
Or Chinese.
Or the Chinese.
See, that seems like a thing that the American government would probably do. After everyone was calling the Biden administration crazy for the spy balloons last year, and some of the balloons that were shot down last year were just private owned science projects. Mm-hmm. And you remember everyone was worked into a frenzy. It's just like the CIA to capture a pigeon, write a bunch of Chinese on it, and release it in Mumbai. And who's crazy now? You got spy birds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, damn. So my first story this week is about how Satan himself is the victim of a hate crime. Former Mississippi state legislator Michael Cassidy is accused of destroying a statue of Baphomet at the Iowa state capitol beyond repair last December and is now being charged with third-degree criminal mischief. And it's classified as a targeted violation of an individual's rights towards the Satanic Temple, thus classifying it as a hate crime. Now, I don't know about you, Joey, but I think that this kind of thing only started happening in this country when they banned sacrificing lambs at the beginning of high school football games. They took Hail Satan out of the Pledge of Allegiance. And, you know, they don't even allow upside down crosses in classrooms anymore. And frankly, I find it disturbing. Who knows what religions they're coming for next? I mean, this was a Mississippi state legislator doing this shit in Iowa. So who knows? Are they coming after your faith next? Are they coming after mine? I mean, as you very well know, I'm a very spiritual person. Mm-hmm. I practice that spirituality from the Facebook posts about how, you know how there's like a bunch of wolves that live inside every man?
Like, yeah.
Like 5 wolves inside of every man.
Uh-huh.
You know, you got the mama wolf, the papa wolf, the baby wolf, the hungry wolf, and the cold wolf.
Yeah.
And I would certainly hate for some asshole from fucking Mississippi to come over and destroy my wolves. I'm not sure what you think about it, but I think it's fucking outrageous.
I do think it's outrageous. I don't think that you practice the spirituality of wolves, though, because I remember a very specific time. Now, we may or may not have been on a hallucinogenic drug at the time, but you were definitely Jesus Christ in that moment. Are you sure you want to Are you sure you want to go with the wolves thing and not Christianity?
So you decided that I was Jesus Christ in that moment. I was just there. And in your defense, I did have long hair and a beard at the time.
But isn't that really just how religion works, though? Like, isn't that how all religion works? Is the followers decide whatever it is they want to believe, and you just have to go along with it?
Like that scene. Did you ever see the movie The Life of Brian? Monty Python movie. No. There's a scene where this guy Brian, he's running through the streets of Israel from these Romans that are chasing him, and he comes to this big street where a bunch of people are up on soapboxes just shouting different sermons of completely different faiths. And like, you shall repent, for the great fox is upon us, and like everyone's just shouting a bunch of bullshit. So he does the same. He stands up on a box and starts shouting a bunch of just whatever random shit comes to mind. The Romans run right past, and a few people stop and like start listening to him and start asking him questions. So what does the prophet say about it? And he's like, guys, it was just bullshit. And they keep asking him and pestering him, chase him through the streets of Jerusalem. And he's running away. He loses a sandal, and they break off into 2 different sects. By now, they've got like 2 different groups of people, like trying to interpret what the sandal means, like that he lost his sandal. We shall all go forth with one sandal. We shall all... No, it means that you should appreciate the sandals on your feet and never take them off. They chase him out into the desert. I think that's what that logic gets us, and I'm going to stick with wolves. Because if I've got 5 wolves, I'm less likely to be chased by crazy religious folk.
Interesting, and
I mean that's just my opinion.
And this was this was a congressman? No,
it was like a state senator or something. Oh, right. Like not an actual senator, but like a state one from Mississippi
who happened to be in
Iowa. And saw, you know, the Satanic Temple. They put up their Baphomet statues to protest all the Christian ideology, statues and shit everywhere because, equal rights. And this guy was really pissed about it and decided to destroy it. So now Satan himself is the victim of a hate crime.
I hope that once this guy is charged and sentenced, his punishment is exactly the same thing that happened in the movie Little Nicky, where Satan bends him over and turns a pineapple sideways and shoves it right up his butt.
Well, I don't think that the Supreme Court would allow such a punishment, but hopefully he has to stick 12 anal beads up his rectum and give 12 Hill Satans, and then rip him out like he's starting a lawnmower every time.
Well, I mean,
that's just the America I want to live in.
God bless that America. It wouldn't surprise me, though, if the Supreme Court were to allow something like that. The Supreme Court allowed the use of carbon monoxide poisoning as means of an execution in Alabama. This is an off-the-cuff story that you just made me think of. Did you hear about that?
I didn't hear about the carbon monoxide one. I heard that some dude just got a laughing gas. Like, he just died to death of a laughing gas. Whatever that chemical is.
It's essentially,
but it gives them.
It's like carbon monoxide.
It gives
poisoning,
you carbon monoxide. Okay. Okay.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, he'll just go to sleep. He won't even suffer. It'll be completely humane." Apparently, he writhed in pain and choked for 12 minutes before he actually died.
Damn. Right? Well, we could only hope that he was a gigantic asshole. And,
for sure.
Hopefully his wolves tore him apart from the inside as well.
Well, hey, speaking of giant assholes, I know we talked about him last week, but our buddy Elon Musk can just not stay out of the news. Friend of the show. Cannot stay out of the news, whether it's for helping that woman, Gina, what's her last name from The Mandalorian?
Gina Carano.
This is he's helping her to sue Disney for all of $75,000 or something ridiculous like that. But anyway, what I wanted to talk to you about is Elon Musk's brainwave bonanza. In a surprising turn of events, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has given the green light to Elon's pet project Neuralink to stick some chips inside of people's brains. Would you ever, in a million years... Now, this is the man who just had an entire fleet of Teslas recalled. Nearly every single Tesla sold in the United States is being recalled.
Really?
Yeah, it's 2.2 million Teslas are being recalled in the United States because of some flaw with the odometer, the digital cluster display, I guess. There's something the information is too solid. It's something stupid, but still... This man who's had 2.2 million products recalled, would you let him stick something that attaches to your brain?
Now, you mentioned in a million years. Yeah, maybe in a million years I would allow, maybe not if he's still involved in a million years, but definitely not the version that he's just rolled out. Especially after all the reports of how every mouse he tried it on died writhing in misery a week later. And for what? To unlock your door with your brain? You could already use your phone for that. And you could probably do it with your brand new Apple VR headset as well. I don't know. It's or get this, you could even use a key to unlock doors. But yeah, no, I definitely don't trust that technology, especially when it's by that guy. And now hands-on, he likes to be on his projects.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So last year, the FDA graciously bestowed its blessings upon Neuralink to conduct its first ever human trials. And it's like the cosmic forces all aligned to say, sure, let's see what happens when you let Elon mess with brains. Because spoiler alert, it's probably not going to end well for whomever the first human trial takes place on, and for the rest of humanity. In September, Neuralink proudly announced that they did get the go-ahead to start recruiting for this mind-bending experience, and have just about begun their first ever human trial, which should take place in the next month or two. All I can say is nothing says safe and comforting like having your noggin operated by a machine with an AI more advanced than your average toaster.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a pretty miserable. I mean, it might be cool, but I kind of doubt that it will be. Like, it's probably going to end badly, just because of his track record. I mean, that motherfucker was supposed to have a whole human colony on Mars by the year 2020, and he's nowhere near that. Like, he just launched a rocket last year that like half of the engines fucking failed. I mean, look at what he fucking did to Twitter. I mean, that used to be like an actual like hub for business and a social network, and now it's mostly just gay fish and Nazis being assholes back and forth. But yeah, that is really surprising that the FDA approved that. I wonder whose dick got sucked to actually give the stamp of approval on that.
Not mine.
So here's a Elon Musk adjacent story for you. Okay. Notoriously cool guy and also friend of the show, Ben Shapiro. And one of those white dreadlocks guys from The Matrix. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like those twins. This dude that looks just like that, this Canadian rapper, just dropped the hottest new hit single on iTunes about a week ago, joining the likes of other recent iTunes #1 conservative anthems. Like, did you hear that Rich Men North of Richmond song? It's like some screechy hillbilly with redder hair than you. There's like, Rich Man North of Richmond! It's the worst fucking song. So that and some other song called Snowflake, like all these conservative songs that it's exactly what you would think a conservative anthem would be, keep getting iTunes #1, which, I mean, yeah, like the 172 people in the world that are still buying their music from iTunes, like I'm sure it's popular amongst them. Like if you look at their Spotify stats, like it's nowhere near #1, but they keep announcing we're beating Taylor Swift with this one. And this song is so fucking ridiculous. Like it's cop dick sucking the whole time. There's a line in it about American flags. We used to hang them. Now everything is rainbows and Black Lives Matter. Like, this guy is a fucking Canadian, for one. Like, he's he's cosplaying as an American for some fucking reason. He, like I said, he looks just like one of those white dreadlocks guys from The Matrix. And the whole tone of the song kind of reminds me of that bit from Family Guy about Will Smith's raps. Do you remember this?
Ready, woohoo! What is it? Help out your mom and dad by getting a job so you can help pay for school supplies. Woohoo! Say ho! Wipe your shoes on the mat when you come in the house. Someone just clean that floor. Woohoo! Say what?
Except it's about fucking white supremacy. And critics were quick to point out a tweet by Ben Shapiro himself from back in like 2012 about, he said, fact, rap is not music, and if you disagree with me on this point, you're wrong, which incidentally is an opinion. And the whole song, Facts, is about opinions too. It's one of the silliest goddamn things that I've ever heard. You should definitely check it out. Buy it on iTunes, so they continue to beat Taylor Swift until they do that the next time. Like I said, Ben Shapiro is a friend of the show. But yeah, it was what really drives me nuts is after Ben Shapiro tweeted that what his idea of music is like his sister singing. Have you ever listened to that video of Abby Shapiro singing the national anthem?
I typically don't go out of my way to view anything Shapiro related.
Oh, even though they're best good friends of the show?
Even though they're best good friends of the show, the only content that I like from Ben Shapiro is he was giving this speech about how the sanctity of marriage is so important because marriage is about procreating and having children, and the world will be better when we have more children. And this 17 or 18-year-old college kid comes up and is like, well, let me ask you a question. If the sanctity of marriage is all about having children, now that you've had children, you're going to leave your wife, right? And Ben Shapiro is just flabbergasted. He's like, I don't know how to answer that.
You've used her up and she's completely useless to you now. And now that you got what you were after out of it, you've got your brood.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Can I just share with you what the Shapiro's idea of music is real quick? Like it has to be seen to be believed.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so
Take your hat off, Joey. It's the goddamn national anthem.
At the twilight last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the
Oh, God. I need to turn my volume down. Hold on.
watched were so gallantly streaming. When the
Here's where it gets good.
the guns bursting.
Okay. I think we get it. I can't do this anymore. Okay. So that's the type of thing that Ben Shapiro is adamant is the only music, and rap is not, except for his song Facts, which again is completely about opinions by a Jewish guy cosplaying as a right-wing Christian and a Canadian cosplaying as an American. So the whole thing was just wacky. Fun though.
Very fun.
Fun though.
Very fun. I like this. Actually segues perfectly into my story because not only have you brought up right-wing conspiracies, you've also brought up singing, and I want to talk to you about the circus of conspiracy where reality takes a backseat and absurdity is driven by the clown car known as the MAGA Cinematic Universe. And our feature presentation today, Stone, is the film none other than Taylor Swift, Psyop. Brought to you by the same studio who gave us Pizzagate. Picture this.
Okay.
Are you the Super Bowl? I know you're not a huge sports fan, but you watch the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is about to take place tomorrow, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Well, what you didn't know, and only MAGA seems to know, and picture this, Taylor Swift, the unsuspecting puppet in a deep state-invented romance with none other than Travis Kelce, meant purely to infiltrate American media, to brainwash the masses, and to rig the goddamn NFL. We didn't know this, but the Chiefs hit a rough patch, and suddenly it's a buffet of right-wing snafuism, and there's a little bit of a plot twist because Travis Kelce is in love with Taylor Swift. All of a sudden, the Chiefs' season turned completely around. If you follow football, they didn't start off super hot. But as soon as Taylor Swift got into it, all of a sudden the script was leaked, and those boys made it back to the Super Bowl. What I think is hilarious is this is again the same group that brought us Pizzagate, the blockbuster Stop the Steal, and fan favorite QAnon. But basically, what they're saying is that Taylor Swift has created a fake romance with Travis Kelce in order to eventually campaign on behalf of none other than Joe Biden himself. They're using this as a way to gain media attention because, a pop star who is also a billionaire and sells out stadiums of 80,000 people on a nightly basis needs to date a football player in order to get an audience. But just be on the lookout. After the Super Bowl is over, there will be a Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift endorsement of Joe Biden. All is yet another attempt for Democrats to steal this country from the red-blooded conservatives.
Now, what I find the most interesting about this story is that they think the U.S. government requires hacking the Super Bowl. I mean, they already tried once with the kneeling for the national anthem thing. They are aware of the hardware that we use in Iraq and Afghanistan, right? Like, have they seen the Gaza Strip? Like, that is a very packed city that is completely getting parking lotted before our very eyes using U.S. hardware. If the U.S. government really wanted to take this country by force, like, one fucking Scud missile would destroy their podunk, shitty small town where these crazy people live. Mm-hmm. Like they could do that one at a time. Like, they could send literally one Abrams tank to every fucking small town in Texas and just demolish it. And like, oh, you guys fucking clearly aren't going to vote for Joe Biden. You're gone. You're no longer a voter anymore. You're no longer a person. Mm-hmm. It just seems like such a weird, convoluted fucking thing to hack the NFL for a second time. Like, they already didn't destroy it with the kneeling for the national anthem thing. Mm-hmm. Endorsing, like, having Bud Light endorse a trans woman didn't completely take over America as previously planned. Mm-hmm. It's like those fucking conspiracy theorists that think that, like, when you fold the dollar bill all crazy, and it looks like the Twin Towers
and the Twin Tower. Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, like, let's go ahead and leave all these clues. I mean, obviously Taylor's gonna endorse Joe Biden. Not that I'm completely convinced he's even gonna survive till the election. That is just so fucking wild. It's wacky.
Well, I mean, when you think your opponents are capable of anything, it's not a very long trip into believing all of these wild things about. And these are from the same people that thought, you know what, the world is such a conspiracy theory against me that we just need to make our own universe. These are the people that have given us MAGA coffee, MAGA banking, MAGA beer, and thanks to old Benny Boy MAGA rap. Like, who needs mainstream when you can just make up your own Marvel alternate reality anyway?
Yeah. Like, things aren't going my way because I'm kind of a psychotic loser. Just I'll live in my own fucking reality. Mm-hmm. And facts do care about my feelings, just not yours.
Look, either way, I mean, regardless of the conspiracy theory, I'm excited. I think it'll be a fun Super Bowl, and I don't care what anybody says. I think Taylor Swift has been good for the NFL. I think it's been great for young women to get into the NFL and for men to better understand Taylor Swift, who young women just love. It's brought in two very diverse groups together into one, and I guarantee you there's going to be a beautiful Super Bowl commercial about it. In fact, I've already seen the commercial. Made me cry twice.
Hell yeah. I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl too. And if we could crush out all the MAGA with a single endorsement from Taylor Swift for the obvious candidate she's going to choose over Trump, Then good. Well, there's nothing to fear anymore, you know?
Nothing to fear but fear itself.
Yeah. Now, my last story isn't actually news, but it is a very interesting phenomena that is seeping into internet culture like kind of rapidly. I'd never heard any of these words that we're about to. I've heard a couple of these words, but do you remember back in the days living at Grandma's house when Morgan came home from school one day with her friend that lived next door, and just all of a sudden she had a completely different vernacular, and she was using words like yeet and ratchet. You're like, oh, you're so ratchet. Oh, I'm a yeet that.
I don't remember her sounding like Kermit, but I do remember her using those words.
Yeah, I'm my Morgan impression isn't very good, but but we were like in our early to mid 20s at the time, and we're like, is that really what the kids are sounding like these days? And we were just confused. And you remember we were like looking up on Urban Dictionary, like she just had like 12 words that she rapid fire introduced us to.
Yeah,
just from talking.
I remember.
I heard this song. I'm pretty sure this phenomenon started on TikTok, but I find it fascinating. It gave me like a really strong sense of deja vu from like that day that Morgan came home talking like an alien.
Okay.
Except I'm like way more sure that this is entirely a troll. You're just gonna have to see this for yourself.
Let's see it.
But this is apparently what kids sound like these days. This is what the cool kids are saying to each other.
Sticking at for the Rizzler. You're so skibbity. You're so phantom tax. I just wanna be your Sigma. Freaking come here. Give me your Ohio. Sticking at your.
In case you couldn't hear that clearly, the lyrics to this are sticking out your gyat for the Rizzler. You're so phantom tax. Or no, you're so skibbity. You're so phantom tax. I just want to be your Sigma. Freaking come here and give me your Ohio. Now, do you understand what message is being conveyed by the song?
I do, and surprisingly, this is not a troll. This is legitimate language amongst the young children. So,
this is really what they're just saying.
This is what they say. Yeah. So I'll translate as much of it as I possibly can. The giat is your ass.
I assume it means like ass.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Just from contextual clues, I got that one.
Rizz,
and for the Rizzler. I know what Rizz is.
Yeah, like you've got like you've got like charisma, like you got Rizz, you got
and
charisma.
The Rizzler is the haver of Rizz, right?
Okay. The rest of it just, and this is all a very loose interpretation. I don't want to culturally appropriate anyone, but basically the rest of it just goes on to say, "I like you. You are cool. Let's have sex."
And that's kind of like Again, from the contextual clues, I kind of understood the message.
Yeah.
But it's the words along the way. Like, skibbity, I know refers to that stupid meme about the toilets. Like, there's a whole... I personally don't understand it. And I'm just a old guy. And I kind of think that that's the point. It's like kind of a troll to us olds, like, hey, we're speaking a secret code and you don't even understand. but you're so scared. I'm not sure what phantom tax is. Do you understand that one?
That one I don't know. Let me look it up right now, actually.
Yeah, I was hoping we could like dissect this line by line, because I mean it truly is fascinating. Phantom is spelled F-A-N-U-M, like Phantom.
Okay. Okay. Let's
Not
see.
phantom tax.
It's a YouTube creator. So what Google is telling me is Phantom Tax is a gag referring to YouTube creator Phantom, who taxes people by stealing their food. Pat, whoever Pat is, says the term was made popular by Kai Sennett, a personality on video live streaming service
I've heard
Twitch.
Of Kai Sennett. Yeah, I know who that dude is.
Yeah.
So you're a toilet head and a food stealer is what those two lines mean. You're so skibbity, you're so phantom tax. You're a head in a toilet that steals food.
Are we sure that's what skibbity means?
That's see, I assume that it, like you said, it kind of just generally means I like you.
Let's see.
And again, this is why I think this has to be like a troll. Like, that is what the message of the song is I like you and I want to bang you. But by calling somebody skibbity and phantom.
So I looked it up on Urban Dictionary, and skibbity has no true meaning. Skibbity is a word usually used to start a convo. That's it. Example.
So you just walk up and skibbity. Oh, that is very interesting. We are in a conversation right now, just like our friends Stone and Joey from the Weird Friends Are Weird podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
pretty much. The second example says. It says skibbity is a word used by gamers who are on YouTube Shorts every day and are on a 3,000-day streak of being a virgin.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're a virgin food stealer. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to be your Sigma. I have heard about what, like, this Sigma male phenomenon is. It's basically like the alpha and beta males, except like hipster, like someone who's kind of above it all. It's sort of like a horoscope for weird internet men, but like I've heard about this, and like apparently like a Sigma is the type of person that goes to a bar and orders a glass of hot sauce instead of an alcoholic beverage because nobody expects that. And they kind of basically people of my faith with the wolves. I guess I would be classified as a Sigma. So I just want to be your like fucking weirdo. Freaking come here. I get that.
Yeah.
Now, what really confused me, this is what actually inspired me to bring this up for my last segment of today's episode. Give me your Ohio.
I don't know.
I mean, give me your Midwest state, your Midwest swing state.
There's an entire New York Times article about this particular song. Let's see.
Oh, see, so this is a news story.
Yeah,
I followed the prompt.
I'm not entirely sure what "Give Me Your Ohio" means, but this article does end by 11-year-old Jaden saying, "If millennials start saying these words, we'll be like, we're done with these now." So maybe that's all we need to do to get it to stop.
And see, I don't necessarily want them to stop. I just like want to understand, like kind of. I don't know. I'm not delusional enough to think that I'm young and cool anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to understand what's like being sung at me, right? And like the whole song is just kind of nonsense, which is, like I said, why I think it's kind of a troll. Like these are words that the kids actually do use amongst each other, just kind of combined in a weird torrent of psychobabble that doesn't necessarily actually make sense. But it was fun hearing it for the first time, and like really pondering the meaning of "Give Me Your Ohio." I tried that line on Ryan earlier. He was in the kitchen making breakfast. And I said, Ryan, give me your Ohio. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Wow.
I don't know. It's what the young cool kids are saying. And we're gonna explore the meaning of give me your Ohio later.
Yeah, of all people, I expected Ryan to know, but with his heart problems these days, he's got a lot more on his mind than the linguistics of children.
Yeah, and yeah. I don't hate it by any means, but it was truly fascinating to think of just how language evolves. And I do kind of hope that "Give Me Your Ohio" doesn't become part of like everyday vernacular. Like I kind of do understand just a little bit why
like just enough
people
to get
who
by.
aren't necessarily bigots are like they're at least confused by the idea of like different pronouns, you know?
Sure.
Like calling somebody hen. Like that's got to be confusing to an old person. Like they don't got to be a dick about it, but
Yeah.
I understand a little bit where they're coming from as far as that goes.
What I find fascinating is Gen Z's use of like the way that they text message. I don't imagine you've spent a whole lot of time texting Gen Z people, but for my job, I'd often have to like have text or like electronic based communication with younger employees, and they would say things like you'd ask them to do something and they would say OFC, and it means of course, but in my mind I would read that as of fucking course, and I'd be like, that is goddamn aggressive. Like you were in a workplace.
That's kind of what I always assumed that was too.
Yeah, but it just means of course.
Just of course. Oh, okay.
Or they would end sentence with FR for real, and I'm like, why does it have to be twice?
For real. Yeah.
Why does it have to be twice though?
Yeah, well, I mean, being millennials ourselves, we kind of have to give a little bit of understanding towards that. After all, we did create like LOL and LMFAO and LMFAO ZRBST17, which everybody knows what that one means.
See, I never really used. I thought LOL and LMAO and LMFAO. That was never like really accurate. I was more of an LQTM kind of guy. I would just respond laughing quietly to myself because I was never LOLing. You were never actually laughing out loud.
For sure. Like I think the most I've ever actually LOL'd at a text was like a even if it was something that like truly was hilarious.
Yeah, that's
you know,
tough.
usually
Rough
you're
crowd.
in public and yeah. I mean, it's different when you're in person, and it's a lot easier to actually LOL.
Yeah,
but so long as you give me your Ohio, I don't care how much you're laughing.
Well, Stone, thank you so much for teaching me more about the linguistics of Gen Z. Do you have anything else for our listeners before we get going?
It was really, really fun learning with you today, and I think I'm all dry. I'm all out of stories, unless you want to listen to Abby Shapiro sing again.
I don't want to listen to Abby Shapiro, and instead I want to listen to our outro music. So, friends, thank you for listening. We are Friends Are Weird, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, we will. Hey.